How are we going, everyone? Out in the garden today, dodging the rain, and I think it's going to come again down shortly. Anyway, just fixing up these garden beds because of the birds I mentioned the other time. They're digging it over, so I've just top dressed this one here with a bit of planting mix. I've got our superfood and black grit in there as well, but today I want to show you another product. We haven't started with this yet. Let's talk about pests in the garden, predominantly in the soil. We find we have a lot of problems that go on in the soil as far as pests are concerned. Part of the reason is because our plant's nutrient density, its mineral uptake is really low if you're not using good quality organic fertilizers that feeds the soil. So if your plants are low in mineral uptake, they're going to be vulnerable and very easily attacked by pests. And we call them pests because they attack plants that we don't otherwise want them to eat. So when they do attack them, what do? Well, we've got to cut off all the damaged, diseased leaves, and let me show you a couple of plants in here. Now, a couple of different pests will have different levels of attack. And what I mean by that is the finer or the smaller the insect, I suppose the easier you can manage it and the easier the plant can, providing its nutrients are really good. So we're talking about the Brix count on a plant. That's how healthy it is and how much mineral uptake that has, and the sugar content basically. So on the lower levels of the Brix, and I'm not going to go through those details, let's just go from 0 to 100, or sorry, 0 to 20, that's an easier number. Anything up to about 9, 10, you'll start getting rid of all the sucking insects, around 12, and going up there to 12, 14, let's say. These are just average numbers I'm giving you. The chewing insects almost become, a thing of the past, but then the larger ones like your snails and slugs, like caterpillars, the bigger ones, they're a little bit harder, so the Brix has to be a lot higher. And you'll find, for example, like here, this lettuce here, mind you, up till now, the cauliflower was sitting over the top like that, the leaf that is, and as soon as I moved it, I found it attacked. So it was hard, it was harbouring underneath the leaf, easy to attack, and I dare say there'd be a few snails and slugs living inside here ready to have another feast. And in fact, if I'm not wrong, there we are. So this is what they do, they wait for night time to come along, sunset, and they'll come out and attack. So whilst they're in your plant, it's pretty hard. But there are also other pests that live in the soil that can otherwise destroy your plants via the roots and even climb out and attack the plant and go back in again. So I haven't been working on anything but other than the team that I have behind us who work on these amazing products that we have, who are like-minded and just real smart people. Me, I'm just a gardener who loves to have a bit of fun in the garden and do the practical approach. So what I'm taking out here, I want you guys to be honest, have a quick look at this and tell me what you think it is that I've got in my hand. What does it look like to you? Okay, and your first thought, I want you to share that with me in the comments below. As soon as you've seen that, and you're going to have a couple of guesses, but at the end of the day, to me, at a glance, it looks like wood shavings, basically, from the base of a trunk of a tree that's otherwise decaying, or there's been a borer in the tree and half of it's died off, and then it becomes compost like that. So it gets eaten away by the composting creatures, and it turns into something like this. Now, this is anything but that. So I've just explained to you what wood shavings would look like, or, rotting away naturally. And, when you find a log sitting on the ground, you turn it over, it's all decayed underneath and it almost looks like honeycomb, and you touch it, it's just really brittle. That's what this looks like, but it's not that. And if you've noticed what it is by now, it is basically the bodies, the carcasses, the exoskeletal shells, and the full insect of the soldier fly, the black soldier fly larvae that we feed in our places, in our environment that we breed. Now, we've gone through a small processing, dehydration and all things like that, and obviously not quite grading it, but getting rid of the really coarse stuff. And because this is packed full of chitin, it will trigger the plant. And when it's in the soil, and it's been proven that it will trigger the plant's defense system, call it that. Think of it as if the plant is preparing itself and drawing up more minerals out of the soil and becoming super resilient and ready for any fight that's going to be ahead of itself. So you've got insects in the garden above and below ground. Up till now, with industry's standards, we've been spraying till the cows come home. To the point of almost extinction, in my view, and I'm talking about everything because we've used so much of it. We've destroyed so much of the life in our nature, from the smallest of creatures, up to the large animals, because of the bad mishandling and ignorance, I suppose. So to get away from those chemicals, recently some companies brought out, and if you remember in the past, OCP, Organic Crop Protecting Company, they were working with us. They were sponsors of our show when we had the TV show. They got bought out by Yates, and Yates owns them now, so it's no hidden news. That's the fact, as well as many other companies have been bought out by the same company. But they've got a range there which is an organic base, and it's designed to service the people who don't want to use chemicals, and there's a lot of you out there. There's more and more that way. It's almost like saying, well, we all want to eat healthy and clean, but when we go to a supermarket, we walk in there and we only have one little small aisle that's called the healthy choice. Well, then what the hell are they selling in the rest of the aisles, honestly? I know there's dishwashing in that, but as far as food's concerned, same thing goes with insecticides and fertilizers. Up to now, we've been able to get a real cheap product with a great effect, but really that's all visual. And the insect, well, we kill the insect, that's fantastic, but what are we doing to the plant and the other microbiomes or microbiology that lives around the plant? And the list goes on, and the concerns are there. So, Neem, Eco Oil came out. I've spoken to you about using dishwashing liquid and olive oil and even chili powders and garlic powders. They've all been trialled and tested. A lot of them work well, but they're not a be-all to end all problems in the garden when it comes with insects. So, more organic stuff is what we need to do. We need to build the soil's microbiome life up, so we've got to have good activity. Plants are more resilient. They'll have very minimal attack, like this cabbage here, which has been, not cabbage, sorry, cauliflower, which I believe is finally forming a head. Here, have a look. There's the head there, beautiful, okay? So we've got a healthy cauliflower coming up there, but we've got a few bite marks and nothing too concerning. But when you do have that, fix your soil. You know what to do. Superfood, compost, organic matter, black rib, mix that in. Our planting mix has got it all. But this stuff here, folks, I am trialling this now. And as I started earlier on, because I dribble a lot, this is the insect, the entire insect, from small insects to the adults that have died, carcasses where they've shed their skin and so on. What it has is chitin polysaccharides, which is the chitin that gets released into the soil or triggers the plant's immune system, thinking it's going to get attacked. So what does it do? The plant thinks there's a pest in the garden, and there always are, but when you add a little bit more, you actually wake the plant up to some degree, and it causes the plant to feed more in the soil. It's communicating with the life in the soil. Hey guys, I need this, I need that, because there's shit going on in the soil, then I don't want to be attacked, and so on. So that is the mythology behind it, the way we see it, the way we've studied it, and I've seen great results with many of you who've used our products. The only damage I really have besides weather here, and this time of the year, these would be covered, for example, with aphids. All right, so we're not going to go through everything, but in this case here, we're talking kale. Normally, with buds and shoots coming up, you would be inundated with aphids. Maybe it's still a little bit cold, but we've had some good warm days, and I've seen aphids, or I've heard of people having aphids in their garden already this time of the year. So the only problem I have at the moment, because I don't have any other pests in the garden, will be sometimes a caterpillar, but far and few in between, that's the truth, and snails and slugs. They're a tougher one to deal with, but you do a surface application. I'm referring to things like where you plant your seedlings in the ground and they get snipped off by like a cutworm, or as the seedlings grow, you've got nematodes in the soil. It's not going to control the nematodes, but it's going to control the plant's ability to withstand the attack. I'm trialing it. If you're interested in something like that, it's an additive to the soil. So I've got no name for it. All I know, it's all these soldier fly insects, but they're bred well, and we obviously clean them and everything we do with them before we process them like that. The other one, are you interested in neem cake? This is a neem cake that I'm spreading here, folks. This is the soldier fly, and we are going to look at this as becoming a deterrent, not an insecticide. Again, I'm not creating my own range of insecticides. There's too many regulations out there that force me to be able to, have to conform, obviously, for health and safety reasons, but at the end of the day, we're not selling chemicals. We're selling basic products that Mother Nature does for you. So the neem cake, that's the byproduct of when they make the neem oil, and we're talking with the companies to discuss the opportunities of bringing that in. And a lot of people have in the past asked me about neem cake, but I have not done a lot with it until recently. So I know I've got a list of people who are keen on it. I just want to know the wider community. How do you use it? Well, it's a powder basically. We call it cake. It's like a patty cake, but it's not really solid form. You mix it into your soil, you put a kilo or two, I suppose, per square metre, and therefore, but mixed in, and that's a natural plant insect deterrent as well. That's what I would think it would do. It won't have the microbiology in your soil. So it's not there to kill off that, but it probably enhance it to some degree. Again, I haven't used it, but I know others who have, and they swear by it. And it's really hard to come by, and I think we've got a fair bit of it coming in. But before we lock the deal in, we just want to make sure you guys are interested, because all I'm trying to do is find better ways to look after your garden without having to put any chemicals in it and, you know, too many different products. Honestly, you know, so many have come back to me and said, my garden has never looked better since I've started using your products, and thank you. But it's also, they've dumbed down all the other shit that they've been putting in, and not because they knew what they were doing, it's just what they were told. And what I mean by shit is stuff that's actually not good for your soil, that can't be digested by your soil, and your plants don't like it. But, you know, it has a result in controlling other problems that occur in the garden, but there's also side effects. And because you guys have said you've had some great results, well, it inspires me to be able to keep researching and finding more things or products that we can add to our garden if we need to. You don't have to. Just because I said I'm bringing this out or might bring this out doesn't mean you have to go and buy it tomorrow. If you haven't got a pest in your garden, well, don't go searching for one and to create one. So let's not create a problem and look for a solution if you've already got the solution happening. And that's using simple, healthy products. You can make your own. Again, you know, I love it that you support us, and I want you guys to support us, but remember, you don't have to always go out there because Vasily said, oh, buy superfood because that's the only stuff. No, you can make your own. Compost, you can make your own weed tea, you can make your own mulch, organic biostimulated mulch, things like that. There's so many things you can do out of your own garden. We're kicking into spring now, warm weather's coming up. You got to start thinking about what you're going to do with your garden if you're planning to do something, and you should be. Don't ignore it. Don't say I'll get to it tomorrow like I do sometimes. Get out there, and every little bit you do, see, I've been working in the garden, will benefit you in the long run. So keep working a little bit. Think about the organic matter you need to add into the garden. Quick. I know I'm dragging on, but quick, have a look at this. I planted a tomato. All right, earlier on, I had some growing in a hothouse. Door blew off from the high winds. The tomatoes copped a beating. They look like crap. There it is there. All right, so I stuck it in the ground because it was leaning over and all things like that. It's down here, the roots are down there. It's semi-layered, and what I mean by semi-layered, part of the trunk is actually covered as well. So wherever the trunk touches the soil, it'll grow roots. But what I did want to show you is when I dug in this garden bed, again, and I've been adding lots of organic matter, more straw, birds have come along and dug over. I dug down in here, and I had to give it a really deep water now, folks, because it's nice and loose now, but when I got down to here where I needed to put the roots in, there you are. All right, I've got beautiful plants above ground, but look at that, dry again, down below. So it's nice and moist on top, but that's all our stuff, but all the contaminated soil that I had brought in initially at the bottom, water doesn't want to touch it. It doesn't want to go down there. It's almost like there's a barrier there where the water just won't go below and just hangs around the top section. And I dare say these plants will have shallow roots. But if the plant grew here 2 or 3 years, well, they've adapted to your habits. So little tips like that you can find to save yourself a lot of headaches and money too. It's not about spending, it's about finding the solution that's going to work with you and Mother Nature, and obviously we'll have a win-win at the end of the day. But if you do need a product, well, you know where our website is, vasilisgarden.com. We've got our great spring specials on, take advantage of it, and our click and collect outlets, support them folks, because they're there to help you guys get some great products closer to you with efficiency and better pricing. Because if you don't, we'll close them down, and then you'll be screaming for it and saying, where's Vasily gone? Vasily's going to go far away. You never see me again. From me, Vasily, Maresi, for now.